My name is Cole J. Sheldon. My film was Sparkplug. I wrote and directed the film. Sparkplug is a film essentially just exploring broken relationships and how those can evolve over time. So, brief synopsis of the film: Emma's broken down on the side of the highway, country road. She's trying to get out of her hometown. Big city dreams, that kind of thing. Small town, trying to get out. And then the one connection she still has to home is what breaks down, and that's her beat up old car. So the only option she has is to turn to her mechanic ex boyfriend to come help fix it. And they have a pretty rocky relationship that ended on bad terms. So they both have to kind of grapple with their dislike and distrust for one another as they navigate the repair.
Your plugs are shot. All right, take it easy. I can have this changed in no time.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us today. I've mostly known your work that you've done participating in the 48. This is not a 48 film.
Nope.
This is a little bit more of a personal project, I imagine, for you.
Yeah, so my career did kind of start with the 48. It was actually I was at Madison Media Institute, which is long since shut down, unfortunately. But it's where I got connected with a lot of the people that I still like to collaborate with. And one of my main collaborators for a long time was Jordan Biagumala, who a lot of people watching may know. And he introduced me to the 48 and said, "Hey, we kind of had already started a friendship and powder on about kind of what movies we liked and what inspired us." And he's like, "I think we could work really well together on this." So we did. Want to say it was the 2013 Madison 48. We were so proud of the film when we turned it in. We were so excited for the premiere, and then we went and watched, and we're like, "Oh, everybody else takes this really seriously." I have that film vaulted somewhere. I'll never show anybody that piece of work again, but it's a great reminder of kind of where I started and the spark that ignited filmmaking for me. It's not a super great piece, but it was like the bug bit immediately in that 48. So from there, I just kind of tried to work on as many sets as I possibly could while I was in school. Um, I had some pretty massive personal issues pop up. I had a real big struggle with my mental health for a couple of years, and ended up having to leave Madison, go back home, sort of refresh my mind. And it took me away from the industry for a little bit. And then circa 2016, I decided it was time to kind of jump back in and started working in the industry again at various production companies down in Milwaukee, social media marketing agencies, just doing any video work I could, all while continuing to do the 48 and try to jump on as many sets as I could in my free time. This was the first piece that I've done in probably 5 or 6 years that wasn't based in a 48 in some way, shape, or form.
I recognize one of your actors, Terry King, in this film. He's been in a lot of stuff around the state. I've not seen this actress before. Have you guys worked together on previous projects?
We had on a previous 48. So I had put out a casting call probably 2-ish years ago. There's a Western that I'm working on that I wanted to get a proof of concept done for. Unfortunately, we had to table that for the time being, but she had submitted for the character Abigail for that. And I loved her audition for that. The direction she took the character in the sides that we sent over was, I mean, it was leaps and bounds above everybody else that had submitted.
And her name is Gabrielle Johnson.
Gabrielle Johnson, yep. So when we were looking at, I partnered with the Belladonna Film Project. It's another organization in Sheboygan that their goal is to bring film and make it more accessible to the community of Sheboygan, help people kind of understand the process and why it's important to shoot these things here. And be as somebody that I've known for a long time. So we finally partnered on a film together. And when we were looking at the pool of actors that we had, it was glaringly obvious that we didn't have a female. And right away, my mind went to Gabby, and I'm like, we got to at least try to bring her in. she's a very bit part in the film, and it's because we could only get her for about a quarter of the day, so we had to kind of get her in and get her out. But I loved working with her. I knew I wanted to work with her again. And then when I put out the casting call for Sparkplug, she submitted for that again, and I I can't say enough about how good her audition was. And then luckily, her and Terry had already worked together, so they already had a little bit of rapport there, which I think was important to make these characters and their relationship believable. We would have had to spend a little bit more time up front having Terry and another actress get to know each other. I think because you got to know somebody before you can fake hate them. You know,
Where was the shot?
we shot in Parnell, Wisconsin. So small town in Sheboygan County. It's just west of, um, southwest of Plymouth. If anybody's familiar with the Plymouth area,
Was
it was
that
shot.
farm something that you were aware of and got for this, or did you have to do a location hunt?
We were location hunting for quite a bit, and that was actually the one thing that I thought was going to kill the production is we could not find a space that worked visually for what I was intending. So I wanted to find a place that was um, secluded and entirely or almost entirely surrounded by woods or felt locked into a box essentially. Because that's Oliver's character is he's secluded in this small town, but also secluded in his own environment. And that's he's not a fan of change. You can't change in an environment that's locked in that box like that. And a lot of the farms we looked at were great, and the look of the house was fantastic, but it was right off an open highway, and that just didn't feel right for the characters. So we got to about 3 weeks before production, and we still didn't have a spot to shoot. And then I happened to go to this farm for a celebration of life for a family friend's father. It was his land, and I immediately walked out there, and I'm like, this would be perfect. And of course, that's the worst time to ask to shoot somewhere because it's a pretty emotional day for them. But I was able to approach them a little bit, like a few days later and be like, hey, I fell in love with this place. I'd love to shoot here. And they loved the idea of it. They loved the idea of being able to do something on Dad's land that was so different than anything that they've ever done. And then there was that stretch that we shoot with the car was right around the corner, and that was another big thing for me is I wanted this country road to feel endless. I wanted this tunnel of trees that they were in to feel like they couldn't escape it, and they're trapped together. And it was another difficult place to find, and also a spot where we're not going to have a lot of traffic. We're not going to have to stop for cars continually going back and forth or shut a road down. We didn't really have the budget for that, so we really lucked out 3 weeks before production just because I happened to go to this event.
It's really nice, the photography in it. You just captured the fall so well, and that's something that short films can do, because if you're shooting a feature, fall kind of changes rather quickly, and you either have to produce that environment or you have to try to get it all in a set amount of days. But luckily with a short film, you're only shooting for like a weekend or two, and you can capture that moment perfectly.
And we even ran into that issue on set as well because we had beautiful colors when I scouted with my assistant director just a week before, like to prep, and we were figuring out where production office was going to be and where we were going to put crafty and everything, and the colors were beautiful. And I'm like, it's going to be cold and windy all week, so we did lose a lot of color the week up until the shoot, and we were able to get what we got. Like the environment was great. It just you point the camera at it and it looks phenomenal.
Yeah.
But then the Saturday of production, so we shot Friday, Saturday. We could only do a half day on Saturday because it started pouring.
Oh,
So we rushed to get everything shot on Saturday. We got what we could, and then downpour knocked pretty much all of the remaining leaves off. So it eliminated any real possibility of a reshoot or picking up additional B-roll. So that made the edit a bit of a challenge because sometimes we just needed one more shot for pacing. We didn't have it.
do you have any closing thoughts on your film to try to get people to see it?
It's such a human story, and I think that's why it resonates with people and has gotten the little bit of reaction that it's gotten. Is it's everybody's gone through this experience. I mean, it's literally a manifestation of like an argument that you have with a friend or an ex boyfriend, girlfriend. You know, you're replaying those thoughts in the shower the next morning. This is what I should have said. You know, it chews at the back of your mind. And that's, I think, you know, it's experiencing a situation where people finally get to let all of that out, you know, and they've had a long time to think about it. And I think that's what makes it so real, and what makes people really kind of connect with those characters is everybody's wanted to do that and has either been, you know, too scared to do it, hasn't had the opportunity to do it, or just isn't a fan of confrontation and can't, you know, can't get those, can't articulate those feelings in a healthy and correct way. So to be able to see people get past that in a very human sense, and not, hey, now we're all better. It's, we got what we needed to get out, and we can just kind of go our separate ways now, and live life a little bit more, um, hopefully, because you're not weighed down by this thing. Um, I think that is what makes it such an easy film to watch for most people, and what makes it something that people can resonate with.
That's good. That's good. You have a nice film.
Thank you.